Hello guys, Shuichi is here, and in this time I just recorded a film, not film, I think just it's a movie. I just wanna introduce to you some techniques of my painting in this time, and some of my friends asked me to how to paint, which is like smoke. And sometimes you can see very dirty brown or black smoke on a fuselage when it has a very old engines or very not quite good conditions, or if the engine has a not high quality engine fuel, it has a very get dirty. And there are many ways to express about this kind of expressions, but I will introduce one way I just prefer to use every time. And you can see, well. It's not only I don't use the airbrush. I use the hand brush like this. And it's very, I think, easy to control. I mean, if you make a mistake, you can just easily fix it in. So maybe it will help you to do if you want to express some sort of things. Okay, today is very windy, so if you interrupt with the sound of the wind, I'm very sorry about that. And this is the simple cardboard, and this is for example. And before you doing that kind of expression, the surface must be get with very flat. I mean, to have more effective expression, you need to have the clear coat. So after you paint the fuselage, and if you do the lot of things, before you do the smoke effect, you need to cover it with clear coat, which is flat, very flat. If the surface is very glossy, it not may have more good effect. So please mention about that. Before you doing this, you should coat it with the clear coat. And now what I'm going to use is this material, color material, weathering color. Maybe brown is okay, or you can use the black if you want, but I think it might be get more dirty look. So you can mix with the half, maybe 50-50, alright. So it's up to you, really up to you. I use this with the airbrush. Put into the airbrush and brew some lines. Now you can see much more better, I think. Okay, let's do this. Maybe you can see, you can use the 0.2. This is 0.3, but it's just fine. You can see the smoke line, right? Like, just rough is okay. Just very it's about. It's not you don't have to be accurate. Just like that, very rough. In some case, you can see the straight line. And sometimes you have to put some enamel thinner if the ricket is so very hard to brew. I think the air pressure should be a little bit high. Yes, that's good. No, very rough is okay. If you use the lacquer thinner or acrylic, very, you can miss. I mean, you do that again. You cannot do that again, right? But if I use the enamel, you can wipe it off. I can just detach, or I can erase whole things, like that. And fine. And then you don't have to wait so long time. If the paint is not get dry enough, it's just okay. You can just start it just after you paint. And using with the brush I just introduced you, and put some enamel thinner and just wiped with some cloth, and then I think it's sort of erasing, get rid of the unnecessary part. Upside down, because the in weathering, I think when it's have rain condition, the old smoke will get wiped with the rainwater. So I just want to express some kind of things. So I just erased using by such kind of brush, and always keep the brush clean with the enamel thinner. And you can always you can also erase the whole things. Maybe you can use cotton swab if you really don't want to like it. Very easy because of the enamel. So you can control it. You can draw it. Or maybe you do the same things from upside down. So whatever shapes you want, you can easily control. So if you want a straight line, you can just draw it. You can, as you can see, it looks more natural. And if you want to have more sharp line, the end of the smoke, you can just control it. You can't do that in airbrush techniques. The very tiny sensitive line you can make it. Or maybe you don't have to do like upside down, you can just go through like that way. But I think it might better to do that even you go straight line. I mean, it's a weathering condition comes to the surface of the rain condition, like stain, right? Okay, which is like okay, you go straight ahead. Straight line is always fine, but sometimes you just can see it's a little bit not natural, right? It seems very sharp, too sharp, I think. To because the smoke line should be like more hard to identify the line, right? It's like more something you cannot see the edge of the smoke line. So I just doing like that. maybe you can try whatever you want. It's not just only way. Or maybe if you want, you can just change the brush, which is more like straight, nice one. Maybe I can try that, but I think this gonna be a little bit unnatural shape, right? It's very tight, I mean. See, the edge of the smoke seems to more like not natural, so I always use the rough brush like this and try to make some little difference, because there is a nature things happen when you see the smoke line. So it's not painting, it's more like wipe off things, right? This is just for a test, so it doesn't matter what is right, but I do something like that. See, and if you can see very unnecessary part, you can just wipe it off with the fresh cotton swab mixed in with the enamel thinner. You get very green. You should get very clean unnecessary part like that. Okay, I think the basic paint is almost done. And now what I'm going to do next is if you touch the surface on the paint, it's very easy to get it off. So you need to cover it with the clear coat again, and this is very important. Some case you can spray the whole thing, and after it get completely dry, you cannot wipe it off anymore. But if you want to, some kind of more interesting special effect, you don't have to wait. It should be not waiting until it get dry completely. I think it's still wet. It's okay. So I just see you how to do that. Okay, this is the flat clear coat, and I think this one I should cover whole things. I should paint whole things, right? And this one I should paint just only the edge of the smoke, not whole thing. I should just cover to protect from next effect, just only the edge. And this one also I prefer to do something like just only the edge, not the whole thing, right? And in this time, as I said, you don't have to wait so long time. If the paint is get dry enough, the effect will not be more good result. So now what I'm going to do is I just using by the same brush, the same enamel thinner, trying to get it up a little bit center. As you can see, I don't wait. I just do that. before it get dry completely. Or maybe you can use the more more small brush, maybe, if you can do that more easily like that. Because the edge of the smoke is covered with the lacquer thinner, so it's just normally remain very naturally, right? As you can see, it's very something like, you know, very old rusty smoke, because I think in the maintenance, people wiped the surface of the dirty aircraft, so it's some sort of things happen. So you can see the very old. Okay, and the next, I just cover whole things. It's something like more rough stain, like, you know, smoke, right? You can see as what I did was still remain, right? So maybe you can do that, not, you know, only the upside down. You can do that like, you know, the airbrush wave. See? Or if you don't want to do that, maybe you can just do some piece, not whole things. Just some. Yeah, something, you know, more like fresh. And seems to very natural things. But I do that whole things. And if you don't satisfy with this, you can do that to using the same material and brew it again, covered with, you know, enamel paint. I think this area seems to be more like, you know, looks like more, you know, natural. So maybe I do that again. So I can do this, I think, 2 or 3 times, doing the same things to satisfy by myself, you know, to get very nice effect. I think this one is okay. Just get it off. And if the paint coated with this is completely dry, you cannot. You can touch anyway. You can touch, but very hard to erase. But now I think it's very easy to erase. No, still remain, right? But very hard to get dry. You know, hard to take off. So it has a time. Very, you know, time is very important. If you once you can get completely dry, you cannot do that. You can, you know, you cannot control as I like, right? Like more like old stain. See? I think this is funny, so I do that for things. And if the, you know, thing is very too white, you can put the enamel brown again to see more like natural. and shading with some, it's more like natural stuff. It looks like a little bit not brown, but it's a white contain a little bit brown. You can try in many ways. You can use the weathering this one. You can just covered with some black things. This is still wet. Okay, this is not suitable for this, but anyway, I think you can easily control better than this kind of stuff. So the enemy is very, very handy, and it's nothing special. You can easily control. And right, it's a little bit like more brown, right? And sometimes you can use the cotton swab to make sure that it's more like natural things. Anyway, I think this is a quite pretty sense of what you had. Just touching very roughly. This is explainable things. Just up to your feelings, right? Search your feelings, right? Do not underestimate the power of dark side, or something like that. Use your force. Okay.